sails of ships in the marshes, clouds of light and dark on the wind and forest air. Tempests and byways cold and stark. There and everywhere, shadows never parting. Your every line I've read. On the river, on sails of ships, in the marshes, clouds of light and dark, on the wind and forest air. Tempests and byways cold and stark. There and everywhere, shadows never parting. Your every line I've
You're listening to Chameleon Church, biblical antidotes for the modern man, with your host, Allan Aguirre.
Good morning. Good morning, Kris.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kris. Can you hear me? Okay, good. And there's Allan. Getting the rain up there, brother?
No, it's been sunny, cold but clear.
We're getting a deluge here. Oh my gosh. Really, some real portions of hard grain. Here we go. I guess some technical difficulties. Did you get to preach this weekend?
No, I didn't. I did play drums, but I'm versatile. I'm a versatile servant.
There you go. We're going to do worship at Ferndale this weekend, me and John, the cello player.
Ooh, fun.
They're having a special ladies conference. Linda put it together from a gal, Debbie Freese, way up in northeast California. She's an old vineyard lady, so really
Look at Allan. Allan's gone TBN on us. Look at that.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. This brought to you by Geritol.
Wow. Look at the purple banner. I look really red. Maybe you can play with that.
Yeah, at the beach, huh? Oh.
I look like I'm beet red. So is this what we're calling it? The TBN, the TBN hour?
TBN. There we go.
I'm gonna make you bigger here.
There you go.
I look like, that's horrible. Look at that. It's an absolutely horrible picture. Do I look red to you or what?
Yeah, you're pink.
You're a little pink, yeah.
There we go.
It's disturbing.
It says
How are you guys doing?
good. You getting snow finally?
Yeah, we got some snow last night. It's not a lot. They were saying 1 to 3 feet, and we got maybe a couple, 3 or 4 inches, maybe. I just let the dogs out. I haven't really ventured outside.
Who let the dogs out?
What? Where did the dogs go?
Dumb joke.
Well,
I said who let the dogs out?
I know. Right? Yeah. Hey, so tonight's the my mind just went blank.
Visible crescent.
No, it's not the visible crescent.
Tomorrow.
It's the other one. When you can't see it, conjunction.
Conjunction. Tonight's conjunction, right?
Conjunction, which means in the next 2 to 3 days we should have a visible crescent sighting
That's right.
in a new month.
12th month, huh? Oof.
Otherwise known as, isn't this would be known as are we going into Adar in the Babylon?
Yep.
We are, is it? Wow. We're at the end of the year.
Yes, we are.
No. So is it going to be Passover before we know it? It
Real
is.
fast this year.
Wow. That's crazy. So, okay, you guys were talking before we came back in. Kris, you were saying you did not preach. You thought you were going to?
No, I did 2 Sundays ago, back to
Right.
back. So
Go ahead and flip the screen.
me?
Or somebody. No. As you can tell, I do not have anything. I have no control.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
flying.
Okay. Here. I'm taking over the show. Oh, I'm gone. Oh, there I am. That's not good. We don't want that one.
Are you sure we don't want that one? I don't mind that other one.
This one?
I think the other one's pretty good because if the person's speaking, then it's all the attention's on you. But anyway, go ahead.
No, this Sunday, 2 days ago, I played drums, and then the previous 2 Sundays, I proched the past test to preach. No, yeah, it was good. I mean, I guess it was good. I think I mentioned it maybe last week. Yeah, I just feel the favor of God in my own heart when I'm preaching more than, and if I compare it to the drumming journey, the more you do it, the quote easier it gets, or the more comfortable it gets, or you learn the techniques that are effective, and and then your confidence elevates. And then since you're removing technical distractions, then you're more aware of what the Holy Spirit's trying to do or wanting to bring. And so I'm feeling that when I'm public speaking. So it's cool. It's cool.
Awesome.
That's good.
I got to meet a new friend. Alyssa posted, and she said, "Lenny, do you know this guy? Da, da, da. He's in Colorado Springs. His name's Jim Pierce."
Can you guys flip that screen?
And it really, he's been talking back and forth the last couple of days. He's the guy that engaged with Rob Solberg, called him up, and he was real gracious. He asked him some questions, but hearing this guy, he's he has a growing little fellowship down in Colorado Springs, and so I gave him all that information for the Chameleon Church, and told him I was going to get him some product. And I tried to get on, and for some reason my internet went screwy, so I got to get on today because I want to gift him those things and bless him with that stuff. And so really interesting guy, really neat guy. And he has the same background coming from Calvary Chapel in the Vineyard. And he was down in Costa Mesa in the early days. And he just sold out for the Hebrew Foundations. So we might see him show up sometime. Be kind of neat. He wanted me to get him information. He wants to know all about the Lehi thing, about our Shavuot gathering.
Yeah, we're gonna be going live with registration, I think, this week. So, and we're calling it Community Covenant Community. That's the theme for this year. So what's going on? We got a conjunction, Kris preaching on a church on Sunday morning. Lenny's hooking up with old vineyard pastors that want to know about Hebrew roots. We got a new setup. Well, we've totally changed everything. I am now no longer behind the cocoon, pushing all the buttons. Somebody else is on the other side of way over there on the other side of the room. And I have to say, I'm a little nervous. I've been pushing I've had full control. I've been ground control for 8 years now. And now I'm just Major Tom. I can't believe I just said that. Oh my gosh. Do we tell?
You can't be pushing the buttons. It's Monday anymore, or it's Tuesday.
What's that?
You can't be pushing them buttons. That
Coming Tuesday, I feel
there you go. All right.
Oh, I made sure I had something I could push. I've got to be pushing buttons. Oh man. All right, what are we talking about today, guys? What did you want to talk about today, guys? Nothing? Well, that's a quick morning. We're already done.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, okay. I'll start something. I was in Santa Rosa last week, right? And you guys prayed for me, and I did get a good report because the retina specialist, I thought I was going down there to get the final on my good eye, and he said, "You know what? It really hasn't changed that much since I saw you last September." So I do have to go down in 6 weeks because of the way that Medicare works. And so they gave me the good injection, the good stuff that they put in my eye. And he goes, after that, he goes, we'll be able to stretch you out from anywhere 3 to 5 months. And I go, that was good news for me. It was good news to see that it hadn't deteriorated like the ophthalmologist thought it did up here. And I was just really grateful for that. And I do attribute that to prayer. I do a prayer and God's power.
Great.
Because we're praying. And, the thing is, it goes up and down and fluctuates. And a lot of times you are the recipient of spiritual warfare, and he can affect us. And that does. And yet it was amazing because to hear that, it put my wife at ease. You can imagine how she feels. Like, oh boy, here's my ride. Here's the guy who drives me around. What's going on here? And so it was just really good news. And I wanted to share that with you guys because that right before we left, you guys prayed for me.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
That's a testimony. And when I was down there, we stay at the World Mark. And what was really weird is I had one of them 3 years ago. I had that really crazy encounter from like 1 till 5 in the morning where he spoke to me about John 14 through 17. I've shared that with you guys. And it's something that he's implanted and imprinted on my heart that I'm continuing. And he always has me go back saying, stay on track. Well, guess what happened this time? Again, 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, 3 years later, 4 years later, I have, whether it's a night vision or an open vision, I don't know what it was, but I heard myself ask the question, and I shared this a couple of weeks ago. How do I love those who I want to hate? And it's like he transported me to 5th Street in Eureka, where there were 200 protesters, and I could see very familiar family faces in the crowd. And I looked at them, and it was like there was like a megaphone, but I didn't have it. And I asked a question. It seems like everybody heard it. I'm going, he loves your heart for justice, but let me show you a better way. And I went, oh my gosh. And they all stopped and they looked. And it was like, he goes, I want to put you out there, not in church circles. And I want to put you out there. And I'm going, well, what does that mean? And how does that translate? Because, I just don't see myself as a passing out tracts evangelist on the street corner. And it hit me. And there was a myriad of things. I think I had an encounter face to face with you guys in this open vision. I can't remember a lot of it, but I all know that it was, I saw his power. I saw his demonstration, and all this stuff was going on. And so I'm trying to make sense of that. So then he goes, you know what? You stayed at the World Mark. And I go, okay. So I did something crazy. I go, okay, let me look up, what does that mean in Hebrew? The word world mark, both words. And it means actually intellectual property in conjunction with co-creation. And it was like a legal term. And I'm going, it's interesting. Both these things happened at that time. We are his intellectual property. His Torah, the mind and the heart of God flows through us. And he is the creator, and he has anointed us with the Holy Spirit to get the things of the kingdom done. And he started speaking that to me. And I'm going, oh my gosh. And he brought me to that verse in 1 Corinthians 2, where it talks about in the demonstration. I'll read it later on, but oh my gosh. So that happened to me while I was down there. So he had a divine appointment for me. And the fact that you guys prayed for me, I got that good news. And then I got this download, which I'm trying to make sense out of it. And yet I know it was that a kind of a visitation saying, oh, you're saying something. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out. So what do you think? Can you guys help direct me?
Say the intellectual property part again. Intellectual property.
In conjunction with the co-creator. Those were all the words used in the Hebrew. I couldn't pronounce. There are 3 Hebrew words that mean world mark. And I'm going, oh, that's significant. And I'm not one of those that try to, let me find the prophetic thing underneath the rug, you know? I didn't want to do that. But since I had that encounter with him, he said, look it up. And I went, oh my gosh. And sometimes he does move like that. I don't want to discount that, you know? And yet I know he's neutering the prophetic a lot. He's correcting it. He's making it real and he's making it alive. He's not going to diss it and throw it to the side. And yet I don't want to be one of those foolish people too. So that's where I'm accountable. And I'm going, man, I heard something. How does this get accomplished? Because it's interesting to sit back in church and preach about all those crazy people out there. It's another thing to confront them with the prophetic and the goodness of God and to hit them where they're at, even if it means a challenge, even if it means loving not your life even to death. And I'm going, oh, I need to be trained in that kind of stuff. Is that what's coming for all of us? You do it when you're on the road playing music and bringing out, that's a natural thing for you guys. You're out there in the midst of it. For me, I'm going, oh.
It's still a challenge, though. I mean, there's so many factors being on the road to get in the way. I mean, lack of sleep, high levels of stress. You're completely out of all your normal comfort zones. You're in a vehicle 4, 5, 6 hours a day. If you're lucky, you're only 4, 5, 6 hours away from show to show. So that there are elements of stress that you experience on the road that you don't have in your normal everyday life. It's not for everyone. I mean, it really isn't. Touring is not for everyone. Everyone wants to tour. A lot of the bands do, and they implode as soon as they try it. It's not normal. The closest, I mean, there's traveling salesmen that are on airplanes all the time, and they're in different cities, multiple cities or whatever during the week. That's the closest to it that I can think of. Maybe truck drivers, but at least they have a home inside their truck. There's that. Maybe a familiarity there. Being outside of our comfort zone, I think, is part of the process, right? I mean,
yeah,
this whole thing is about him having us outside of our comfort zone. My ways are not your ways. My words are, my thoughts are not your thoughts. My ways are not your ways. That's very uncomfortable. If you look at, if we look at the Gospels, every time Jesus was doing something, every time he was setting a marker, he was making people uncomfortable. They were very uncomfortable, whether it was disciples or the people he was actually ministering to. And so when they came to him and said, oh, no, the centurion, I order people around all the time. I know that all you have to do is say it and it'll be done. You don't have to go with me. And Jesus is like, whoa, because that was not the norm. That guy's faith level was up here, whereas a lot of people didn't have necessarily a faith level, but they had an uncomfortable level. They were very uncomfortable around him and the things that he was trying to set up and the things that he was establishing, and the truth and the dynamics of a spiritual life, or the dynamics of walking out this thing, is designed to make our flesh, see, because you got to think about it. We're 100% human. And because of that, these spiritual pieces come in and it does that. And that's what Paul says in Romans. Our flesh will actually battle, fight against God's spirit. That's what it says. What we can't keep his covenant because our flesh wars with the spirit. And because there's that complete opposite thing, everything about this thing that he wants, right? If we're doing it the prescribed way, it'll make you uncomfortable. You're going to have to you're going to have to remember the wife of your youth and love her regardless, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years into it, those type of things. It's remember the backwards, first, last first. If you're going to lead by serving. It's the exact opposite. And that totally conflicts and contradicts the normal human established way of life, of things. You want to make it in business, you got to charge ahead. Dog eat dog. The ends justifies the means. It's brutal. He's saying this is the opposite. This whole deal, the way we're doing it, is the exact opposite. And so that's going to bring friction. That's going to bring tension. That's going to take us out of a familiarity, because we're very familiar in our flesh. I mean,
it brought something to my mind, and you were saying this, getting out of our comfort zone, but being in the covenant and being a covenant family, a covenant people, that's our authority, because he is behind us. He will not abandon us. Just like with Abraham, talk about being out of your comfort zone. Again, putting that knife into his son. And the Lord was there to make the promise where he would have a legacy as much as the stars in the heavens or the sand in the sea. Just that covenant is like not a blanket. It's a being part of his family, that authority that cannot be broken. And so he's going to be with us no matter what, whether we live or die.
Yeah. And we've shared this before. If I don't talk to somebody for years and then I see them again, and how's it going? And they sit there and they tell you their life for the last 10, 15, 20 years. And you're horrified by what they're telling you, because I know what's going to happen. They're going to ask, how about you? And I'm going to go, I have a different narrative. So then why? Why do they choose? So what happens to these people? 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and they end up over there. They end up out in the weeds sacrificing to goat demons. Right? They're out in the weeds sacrificing to goat demons. And so how did that happen? How did they get way over there? Well, they got way over there because they everything we're talking about. They had a problem with church, or they don't go to a good church, and they weren't taught, they weren't being discipled, things of that nature. And so what ends up happening is they have like these little compromises along the way, right? One little turn. And then one of my favorite lines from a movie I never saw. I don't do that. I'm a fan of man. I don't do that. I don't have to do that to you. I don't have to do these things to you. You're going to do that to yourself. And we do. And then they throw all these different ways of how he can deceive us, right? Just that one little compromise. And so 5, 10, 15 years later, what happens is, if they're not walking in the Spirit, if they're not sowing into this, if they're not actually doing any of that stuff, what happens is you find yourself out in the weeds sacrificing to goat. That's why it's so important. You got to get up in the morning and you make that choice. I'm going to walk. I'm going to keep the covenant. That's where that personal relationship, the extreme interactive relationship with the Holy Spirit, that's where all of that stuff comes in. All that stuff that we're constantly repeating. Why do we repeat it? Well, if you look at the Gospels, Jesus is literally repeating himself. He's just saying the same thing over and over. Not in the 4 Gospels. Just take one Gospel. Right? He's constantly repeating himself, but he's saying the same thing in different ways, because he knows that we're dense, and it's very difficult for us to understand, comprehend, grasp these concepts. And that's why we're always repeating stuff, because we have to get up in the morning and do this thing and make that choice to do it. And and by doing that, right, the idea is that it becomes like breathing. It becomes natural and normal. We are going to, if we wake up and we have an attitude, we got to check ourselves, and it's all the different little things that people just aren't interested in doing. It's too much work. if they can convince themselves here that they don't have to do it, or that they can, right? Because Christendom as a whole is always looking for the way out. They're always looking for a way to do the least they have to do. What's the minimum I have to do to still feel like I'm okay, right? How do I appease this monkey on my back called God? Just keep throwing them that one little treat. What's the least I have to do? They're always looking for that least thing to do, as we know, because when you start telling them, well, are you keeping the Sabbath? That's legalism. Okay, because that means I'm going to have to do one more thing. I'm going to have to figure out yet another thing. That's why I think, in my opinion, the majority of these people. How many people have we heard or know or have met? Oh, I believe in speaking in tongues. Whole churches. Oh no, we believe in speaking in tongues. Well, then why does nobody speak in tongues? And then they give they have all these excuses why nobody does it. But see, in my opinion, no one cares that you believe in this stuff. You're not doing it. To me, that equates to not believing in it. And so that's why I think all these people don't do all these things, is because they don't want to do the work of. We were created for good works. What works? The works of obedience. If I can convince myself that I don't have to do those things, that none of those things fall into the area of obedience, I mean, they'll tell you, well, all we have to do is keep the 10 commandments. Okay, let's strip those down. Because Jesus says it's not what you're doing; it's the issue of the heart, which comes from Deuteronomy. Everyone thinks that's a New Testament concept. It's not. It's an Old Testament concept. Oh, issues of the heart, Jesus said. It's not what you say; it's what you think. It's not what you do; it's what you think. He takes it to another level. See, so, again, it's just as little as I can do. If I can get away with doing as little as I can get away with doing, they're content with that. They've convinced themselves, I only have to shoot so high. And then you meet somebody you haven't seen in 5 years. How's it going? And they're like, they're just low rung mix. They're just down here. You're like, oh, and if you try to talk to them about, oh, we're supposed to be right, a better way. He showed us. They told them or showed them about how to do it a better way. That's where we lose a lot of people. I don't have to do this. I don't have to that's legalism, Allan. That's works based. I don't have to do all that. I can just. I've received Jesus into my heart. I'm comfortable. I'm okay. God wouldn't require that stuff of me. Okay. Comfort zones, familiarity. They want to do as little as they have to, and still feel okay. See, they as long as they still feel okay about themselves and God, they'll do anything. They'll divorce. They'll remarry. They'll break all the commandments and justify it and tell themselves how they're okay. I'm just human. No one's perfect. Are you perfect, Allan? Never. Nowhere in the Bible does it say to imitate me. You're supposed to imitate Jesus.
Those red letters. Be perfect as my Father in heaven is perfect.
They don't believe that, I don't think.
No.
And so, based on whatever people are where they're at, and then we as leaders, right? I look at it. It's like a filter. We're supposed to be filtering the narrow way. Few find it. It's a restrictive path, right? The called versus the chosen, and everyone's floating wherever they're floating in this funnel. We're all trying to get them to funnel into this narrow, and we have to deal with everyone where they're at and trying to offend. I mean, I don't have a problem offending you as long as I'm offending you in the spirit. If I'm offending you in the flesh, that's not good, right? And you've seen me offend people in the flesh, even on this show, and I've had to apologize. I'd rather, offending people in the spirit, that's okay.
Yeah, it is. He offends the mind to reveal the heart.
Yeah. So, Kris, you're gonna have to be doing the switcherooing of the stuffs. The show producer has gone upstairs to check on animals. Yes.
What are you thinking, Kris? You're in thought there. I see it.
I was wondering if I'm going to take a nap after the show. Got up super early. I'm super tired. Just being real. Part of the thread of my talk 2 Sundays ago was this. Oh, I should switch myself here. On comforts and staying in our comforts is what keeps us from our purpose. So if Jesus prophesied over us, in this world you will have trouble. In this world you will have discomfort. I mean, and a fallacy of the Christian faith is that one of the fallacies propagated by leaders in the Christian faith is, oh, you just give your heart to Jesus and everything's fine, There's not going to be sickness and you won't have any trouble and all your relationships will be gold and you won't ever get fired from your job or laid off, and your government will love you and treat you and be truthful to you. And Jesus completely says the opposite all the time. You're going to have trouble. That's why you need the counselor. That's why you need the Holy Spirit. That's why you need to obey the commands, right? If you obey the commands, you'll have favor. You'll have blessing amidst the trouble, amidst the dynamics the evil dynamics that you're going to experience in a fallen world because there's fallen people. And that creates, if you're believing like, oh, why will I have trouble or discomfort or God's not helping me in the discomfort. I'm so, you have this pessimistic outlook on your faith. I'm just so beaten down. I can't wait. Life is so hard. Because you're not engaged the Holy Spirit, man. And because Jesus told you this is all coming. You're going to have tribulation. Rejoice in suffering. And so it creates this tendency, it can create this immaturity in believers, backing down in the discomfort or being distracted by comforts, which keeps you a watered down believer. I'm happy watching my Netflix every night, scrolling my phone. When I'm uncomfortable, when I am uncomfortable, I get upset. And complacent, consumeristic behavior, just like the world's behavior, is going to lead us further to the edge of the wide road. It's going to take us away from the narrow road. And I think it's a real danger to let comforts and where are the places we could find comfort in our finances, in our job security, in financial planning for retirement, relationships. We find comfort in relationships. Oh, I can't be alone. What am I doing tonight? Who am I going to see? What's the next activity? The frantic, pursuing romance. I think for teenagers, right? You get so like, oh, I got to have a girlfriend. I got to have a boyfriend. I got to because that's what the world is telling you matters. And that distracts you from pursuing the Lord, pursuing, man, what does the Lord want me to invest my time in my late teens and early 20s? One of my comforts is excellence. I'm uncomfortable when things aren't excellent or dialed. So that's a temptation for me to lose it, and putting my faith in, here's the plan, here's the schedule, adding, hold on, Adam. Here comes Allan. Am I making sense here, Lenny?
Yeah, I'm understanding what you're saying.
Is
You're talking about that whole comfort zone that we've insulated people from, because we've tried to give them a pillow rather than being founded upon the rock. And the rock's not a pillow.
Yep.
That rock represented the cross. That rock represented dying to oneself. And we've tried to put pillows under people. That don't work. And especially if we're going to be, when you were talking and when Allan was talking, it was interesting. It came back to me. If we want to present that Holy Spirit, well, guess what? What comes with that? The convincing of the world of what it means to be filled with faith, righteousness, saying no to sin, that brings out obedience, and the judgment to come, where we have the fear of the Lord, realizing that when he shows up, where is our heart going to be? That circumcised heart, that heart that he owns, that heart that is his, that circumcised flesh of the heart, which he says is new because he's put his Torah in it. That's that new covenant that we talk about. And so to me, I'm getting schooled this morning, being reminded of something simple that I forgot. And when Allan brought it up, and when you're talking about it, getting out of the comfort zone, that's huge.
Yeah, and it's where eschatology, pre-tribulation eschatology lives. Because we don't want to be uncomfortable. We don't want to go through tribulation. We don't want to, and so a doctrine gets invented that saves you from discomfort. How dumb is that?
It's a big pillow. It's drawing people down to its heresy at its finest.
Yeah. Another comfort is the hashtag hustle culture, especially for men. I mean, gotta work, gotta acquire, gotta produce content, gotta go. No time to sleep, which is the opposite of Sabbath rest. Yeah, work hard, work on the Lord, not on the men. But if it's overtaking your life and you're putting your hope in climbing the corporate ladder or achievement, or that can be a comfort. That meaning the comfort that you're pursuing and giving your time to is occupying a spot that the Lord wants in your heart. And it's each of us has a different one, but an overarching thing is comfort, seeking pleasure, seeking. I mean, it's idolatry, right? It's modern idolatry. What are we pursuing that is meant? What does the Lord want to exchange with us? And he would say, hey, Kris, give me this comfort that you're pursuing, that you're committing your life to, and let me have that, because I want to give you this inheritance, this abiding, this Sabbath rest in me, dwelling with me, is available to you. I'm here waiting, but you need to exchange. Bring me your exchange. Let go of your exchange. And that's what I want for people. I want people to come off the edges. First, get on the road. And now when you're on the edges of the wide road, come into the narrow. Step into the narrow.
And you know what? He says this. The yoke's not hard and his burden is easy. He's the one that says that. Mm-hmm. He's the one that says that life with me is not only just a relationship, it's fulfilling and it's filled with everything he wants to give us. Yeah, he knows we're human. He knows all of that. But we make out being obedient and going hard after him as this tough thing. Yeah, you got to pick up your cross. But what he gives us through the Holy Spirit is that place of a connection with the supernatural and a connection with intimacy with him and his Father that's unmatched. And I guess, again, we call that covenant. We call that family. We call that protection. We call that authority. There's a lot of things we can call it, but it's him inside of us. It's life. It's life from the dead. It's talking about overcoming whatever faces us. That's his promise to us. That's intimacy with him.
But do you have any idea? I think you do. Obviously, you're a pastor. But do you have any idea how many people are afraid of that, and they don't do it because of fear? Exactly.
That's the main thing.
And because in my my birthday's next week, and it's Alyssa's birthday next week. Don't forget. Come on, keep those presents coming in. In my experience, inside and outside of church, inside and outside of Christianity, the majority of people on earth live in fear. Yeah. Why are you laughing back there? Oh, it should have been Alyssa. Kris did. Okay, so inside of church and outside of church, real world, right? Doesn't matter, Christian or non-Christian. The majority of people live in fear. They second guess not only with themselves, but they just live in fear, and they make choices based on that fear. You know, whether anything, social circles. Oh yeah, I don't really go out. They just stay at home. I don't know. Do they live in their basement? Do they live in an apartment? Most people aren't going to be social, and if they are social, they're really awkward because they don't know how to interact with people. The majority of people live and walk in fear. They don't have confidence. They don't have any of that stuff. So they pick menial jobs. They don't have careers. They're not go-getters. They're not entrepreneurs. It goes on and on, right?
Right.
You all know what I'm talking about. We all know them. We have them in our families, and we know them in the workplace, and they're in church. In my experience, those people are the ones that make up the majority of Christianity.
Right. Here's a caustic word, and I might get bashed for it, but people who live in fear, I don't believe they love God.
Well, here's the thing.
How can they?
Right. So
perfect love casts out fear.
Yeah.
And he gives it to us freely.
Yeah. I know a family in Texas, right? The dad, the mom, and all their adult children, right? So all the children are adults. And not only are they adults, but they're married and they have their own children. So the mom and dad are really grandpa and grandma, okay? And this whole family. And lifelong Christians. They've been Christians their whole lives. When the mom died, the majority of the kids lost their freaking mind.
Wow.
And it's not like the mom died prematurely or early. She died as an older grandmother type. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, she was she was past probably 70. My point is, and I'm not insensitive to people's losing loved ones. No, but what happened to your faith? Was your faith so shallow and superficial that when mom died, can you change that frame thing? It's a horrible. Second, see how we can you go to no to the 3 to the left, please. There you go. It's like when the people die, when the loved one died, it's like they lost. It was like, I don't know. It was weird. Their faith, something happened to their faith. How could they be so? I don't understand. Do you know what I'm saying? The loved one died, and it's like, what happened to your faith in God? Did you not know they were going to die eventually? And why was your faith so fragile? That's a good word. That the death of a loved one pulled the rug out.
They live through their mom. They live vicariously, and that's what the church does. They live through their pastor or their leaders because they've provided an atmosphere saying, listen to me only, and they haven't put that person in direct touch with the living God. The only way you're going to do that is by their obedience to follow his commands. And following his Sabbath, really understanding what it means to come into that intimacy with him every Sabbath. We've made it easy. We said, oh, just listen to the pastor. Gosh, we know that one.
Yeah. So it's just, so again, if you're walking in fear, if you live your life out in fear, if your whole deal, if you're that person, it's not going to be easy for you to submit to the things that Jesus said that are going to challenge those aspects of fear or your comfort zone. It's going to be a lot easier to just. I remember counseling. I remember you counseling somebody, a mother and a daughter, I believe it was, Lenny. And when I asked you how the session went, because they were, I knew these people, you literally said to me, I don't know if they have the ability to comprehend the need for a savior. And that was like, yikes, because you were completely right. There are people out there that are either not bright, they're not very intelligent, or they're emotionally, I don't know, that it's almost like, I don't know, they can't grasp deeply the need to live a different way or to change their lifestyle.
There was a family in Burbank I remember years ago, Allan, where the husband and wife did get divorced, but what it came down to, in talking with the husband, me and Linda pinned him down, he didn't believe that the cross and what Jesus did was enough for him to get saved. And I go, you have no understanding. You're not saved. And they've been living like that for 15 years.
Right. And we know so many people. So what happens is when you do this long enough, knowing something about you in your personal life, or just knowing, that the sermon kicks in, you're going, see, we have no other, until we come out of, I don't know, it's like a stage, right? Let's say this is like, I don't know, let's figure this out. You're a human without Jesus. And so you're living a life that's without God, right? So you do what you want to do. You do what's based, in your own understanding, what seems right in your own eyes. All that stuff's going on here, right? And so the choices you make, the decisions you make, it's usually based on your self-preservation and what makes you feel good and what makes you comfortable, right? Then you learn. Then you come to Jesus. Well, now you have to. Right? What do we read? What are we learning in Romans on Monday night? You got to let go of all that old stuff, that old man, whoever you were before you came to Jesus. Otherwise, You can't get past that part right here. Because the idea is, this is what you are in the flesh. This is what you are as a human being. You're living by your soul, what makes you feel good, what's right in your own eyes, your own understanding, all that nonsense. Truth is fluid, all that crap. There are no absolutes. Then you come to Jesus. You have to get rid of all this superficial human stuff and become spiritual so that you can rise up and be like Jesus and allow the Holy Spirit to transform you into the likeness of Jesus. See, so what happens is, if you don't get rid of this stuff, you bring it into your walk, you're only going to get so far. And a lot of people, they're okay with that. And so you don't see them for 5, 10, 15 years, and they're still working with this first layer here. And you're like, what's going on? And then they start telling you how, oh yeah, I got a divorce. Here's my new girlfriend, or here's my new wife, or, you know, the kids are, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? There's these I'm out in the fields, out in the weeds, sacrificing to gold demons. And they're like right here, they're stuck because they never took care of all this stuff, because they're still living in fear. They haven't allowed themselves to die or to be broken on the rock of his salvation. You have to allow that to happen. Otherwise, you won't go anywhere, and you won't understand the deeper things. And that's why charismatic people don't speak in tongues, and that's why nobody does Torah, and that's why there's all this compromise. God, down here, God has pronouns down here, and all manner of sin is acceptable because we want to coexist. God's inclusive, not exclusive. Everyone's welcome to the table. You know what I'm saying? What happens is, because they don't go anywhere and they only get to where they're at, then there's a whole industry catering to that one talent guy, one mina guy. In fact, they're the majority. They run the show. They've been running the show for close to 1,800 years. They've determined, right? And they've made everybody feel welcome. They've made everyone feel okay. They've catered to the one talent guy instead of trying to get him to walk in excellence. And then so anyone that's going to question the matrix is now a threat. You're a mover, you're rattling the cage. You can't ask those questions. You're what is it called? Extra grace required. Right? You're that guy. You're now a problem. They don't know how to deal with you because you're not a yes man. You actually think for yourself. You're questioning authority. You're doing that's a rebellious spirit, Allan. I could write a book just on everything I've been told since I got saved. And you're a problem, and we're the minority, and we're the problem because we're not going with the flow. We're not. You got to get. You got to. What's the word? Get into step. Get in line. No, I'm out of step with the world. Dun dun dun. Sorry.
Coming Tuesday, I feel better.
Cheers.
That preaches catering to the one talent guy.
Oh my gosh, the whole institution is not only catering to the one talent, one mina guy, it's being ran by the one talent, one mina guy. And then we walk in and we're like, what did he just say? What you go in and the worship is what it is, the preaching is what it is, and you walk out. I feel slimed half the time, or I feel really, 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 really dumb because they dumb it down, and it's just not a good. It's no. And so Jesus shows up, and he sees all these, and he knows all these people are all over the map. We're supposed to be loving, kind, gracious, merciful. But we don't tolerate people's crap because he wasn't a pushover. Jesus apparently was able to survive as a human being, as a man, in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights without food or water that we know of. You can't live longer than 8 days without water, Alan. Okay, well, maybe there's cacti or something. He found some, you know what I'm saying? The fact is, the guy wasn't like this. We want to make him out to be like this really wussy, wimpy, you know, docile, little doughy, little whatever. I don't think so. The guy was a carpenter. The guy had more upper body mass than I do. It's not a path. See, that's the thing. They've made it into this passive, weak. I mean, some of the arguments you hear out there, or people's, you know, theology, what people believe and how they believe it and how they got to those conclusions, it's really weird. It's really weird what they believe. And it's also compromising, convoluted, wimpy stuff. And it shouldn't surprise us. That's what they believe because, well, they never got past this layer. They barely got past this layer. All right, they got rid of a lot of maybe, you know, they're doing their best to keep the 10 Commandments, but it's like Lance Wallnau says, it's the gospel of salvation or the gospel of the kingdom. It's two different things. The majority are functioning with the gospel of salvation, and that keeps them down here. Kingdom? But they like it. They're comfortable. They're not movers and shakers. They're not entrepreneurial. You know, they don't think like that. They're not wired like that. That's okay. But not when it comes to this stuff. See, that's the thing. It's okay that you weren't a mover and a shaker, entrepreneur, influencer, whatever, right? That's okay. No one's telling you have to be that way. But when it comes to things of faith, you better believe you better be more than just, you got to be more than conquerors, right? That's a whole different game. And that's where we lose a lot of people because they're again, what are they doing? They're equating their faith based on what they know in the physical realm. You can't do that. This isn't physical.
Your faith can't be docile.
No.
You cannot afford to not be proactive in your faith journey.
Right.
It's proactivity.
You're out of camera.
Sorry. I bumped it.
Yeah. But yeah, you're completely right. But because they're those people, they bring that into faith. You can't bring this square, linear block into your cyclical round hole. It's not going to fit. It doesn't work. And that's why they're 5, 10, 15 years later, they're out in the field, you know, sacrificing the goat demons. Their whole life is a disaster. There's, you know, if they're still married, there's a lot of sickness. That's really scary. There's all this stuff. And it's like, why doesn't your life exemplify what we read in the Bible, come with the blessing of obedience and walking in covenant relationship? I mean, it's in there for a reason. There's a reason why it says this is what, and we brought this up in Romans. Here's the blessings of walking in covenant. And if you're not, you know, and if this isn't what your life looks like, you're probably not in alignment, and you need to align yourself so that this will define your life. It's not like what we think your life should look like. The Bible tells you what your life should look like. And if it doesn't look like that, it's probably because you're broken and not in alignment. God's not broken. His word isn't broken. And so I read the Bible and it says my life should be like this. I need to do whatever I need to do to get there, to fix it, to get to that place. I remember, you know, Jim Durkin. Jim Durkin was was he a Baptist or something? He was a conservative, regular Christian guy that was told about this group of hippies living at a lighthouse ranch that we all went to, when we were in California, and came in and he became their pastor, right? And then through that became an apostle with this global, literally not only all over the U.S. but Central and South America through my uncle, and Europe too. Anyway, there was a time, I'm not sure when it was. I don't know in the timeline, his timeline, when it happened. I don't know if it happened before he found the hippies or after he found the hippies. But this is my point. Him and his marriage was on the rocks. He was going to get a divorce with his wife. They were going to get a divorce. They were unhappy. It wasn't working out. And God told him, no, you can't do that. You can't do that and serve me. This is not something that's going to be preached on any Sunday, any church USA. They don't actually adhere to the teaching of Jesus regarding divorce. It's very, very rare that they do. I know of actual people that you watch on YouTube that counsel people to get divorces. But anyway, so God told him, no, you can't do that. And this is what he said, and this is my point. I had to stay with my wife, and I had to learn how to love her again. I had to fall back in love with my wife. I had to, right? He had to course correct. There was a better way. He was out. So if this is what God wanted him to do, right? Keep your covenant with your wife. Don't get a divorce. You can't do that. But he was down here somewhere. He had to make the changes in his life. He had to do the work. He had to do all the hard stuff to somehow submit his flesh and allow himself to be transformed and instructed and taught and changed so that he could get back to where God wanted him to be with his wife up here. But I for some reason that just came to mind, and I remember it. I didn't love my wife, and I had to start over. I had to learn how to love my wife again. I couldn't get a divorce. I had to figure out how to get back there. I think that says a lot about what it is that we're talking about.
Yep.
We have to, as humans, somehow allow ourselves, our flesh, our lifestyle choices, the decisions we make, how we process. That's a big deal, how we process. That's everything. Because if we don't like something as a human, we're not going to do it. And I'm not going to do anything that makes me uncomfortable, which is how we got here. Anything that's going to challenge me, anything that's going to rub me the wrong way, I'm not going to do anything like that. I just want to live my life. And it doesn't matter to them a lot of times how dysfunctional that life might be. Because they're just going to die one day. I know actually people that are just literally living their life waiting to die. And it absolutely freaks me out. But no, you got to do what you said. You got to be proactive. You got to do what Kris said, right? You've got to do everything you have to do to align yourself with what God is saying and what God is doing. Not just in the earth realm, but in your life realm. Hey, stop doing drugs. Hey, stop drinking to drunkenness. Hey, stop being sexually immoral. Hey, stop coveting. Hey, stop lying. Stop stealing. Stop being dysfunctional. Stop thinking so highly of yourself. Stop being arrogant. Stop being unkind. And a lot of people won't do that, but then in the same way, I believe in speaking in tongues, but nobody speaks in tongues. A lot of them will only allow so much of what we just said to permeate their lives. And they're comfortable there. They only get so far, and that's where they see. That's what in my experience, that's Christianity. They've only allowed so far, and they found it's like I've talked about this before. In the mid to late 80s, when I was doing what I was doing musically, 10,000 new acts immigrated into Southern California, LA, Hollywood. 10,000 a week. Writers, producers, singers, models, actors, bands, right? Whatever. When it came to the entertainment industry, 10,000 new hopefuls a week. But see, you got to remember, that was, let's say, 1985 to 1990. But you got to remember, what about all the people that showed up before then? 60s, the 70s, early 80s, that came and didn't make it. They wanted to be I knew a guy, I knew a person, I knew a man. He moved from the middle of nowhere, Mississippi, to go to LA to be a movie star, to be the next like Lone Ranger. And you know how far he got it? Security guard at Burbank Studios. See what I'm saying? So all these people showed up in the 60s and 70s to be actors, models, screenwriters, whatever, producers, singers, and they didn't make it. Well, so what they did is they ended up creating an industry, right? They only got this far. They got to LA, but they didn't make it. They didn't make it as why they went to LA for. So they created an industry. Get Shorty. John Travolta, Danny DeVito actually is about that, because the main guy, he had a production studio. He was like this low-rung production studio that John Travolta ends up working with. Gene Hackman, right? They created an industry at that level. They didn't make it, and so they had. So right, so in the mid '80s, you'd look at it back.
Talking about them B movies. That's what that was about.
Okay, sorry, I got bumped out again, right?
Yeah.
So LA Weekly, all the different little magazines out of LA. In the very back, you would see all the advertisements. Can you flip me? All that were created. So, and they're targeting people like us, right? Hey, you want to showcase in front of record industry professionals? Pay us $250. Show up here, and you can play 2 songs or 3 songs, and in front of industry professionals. Well, they weren't really industry professionals. They were the same low-rung people that didn't make it in the real world that they created a whole economy that was down here for all the new hopefuls to get their money, because they only got that far. Doesn't that sound like Christianity? It does to me. We've got a whole industry. Gospel Music Association, Nashville, Contemporary Christian Music, all those, because a lot of people in those right wanted to be real rock stars. Church, worship bands, preachers, pastors, theology, doctrine, it's all down here. And they cater to that demographic because they're the majority. It's all the one talent people. And then anyone that passes that is a threat and suspect. I've seen it like that for about 40 years. That's the way I've always seen it. I've seen it like that for a very, very, very long time. And which is why when I open my mouth, the majority of people hear wah, 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 wah.
Coming Tuesday, I feel better.
Did I leave you guys speechless?
Yes.
I mean, if that triggers you or insults you, or if I'm stepping on your toes, good. It's supposed to. Now do something about it. That doesn't mean you don't buy another book. That doesn't mean you don't come back to Monday or to Tuesday. That doesn't mean no. That means do something about it. Come to our Shavuot conference so we can lay hands on you and cast all those goofy demons out of you. Or go find a church that will cater to you Whatever it is that makes you uncomfortable about being here right now. Because we know that happens. We know that for a fact.
No more one talent wonders. Yikes. I believe that's what the majority of people that never go to church want to hear. Because they're not hearing this.
Right. Well, they're not hearing it at church either.
No.
Well, again, like we always say, you can't teach what you don't know. These people can't tell you. They can't change their narrative. They don't know there's a better way. They're towing the line. This is what their denominations told them. This is what their denominations believe. And this is how they learned how to preach in seminary. Yeah, you can't see Kris or Lenny on YouTube. I've got YouTube here, and Kris and Lenny are gone. Can you
Really?
take them in and out?
I'll take them out and put them in.
So weird. There's like a lag too, so I'll let you know. It must be a hot topic what we're talking about. Very sensitive, because we're having
Real
a lot
sensitive.
of the software we use is having a lot of issues. Because it's not just me, it's Lenny and Kris too. Yeah, they're still not in. Isn't that weird?
Should I take them out again?
You can try that. I don't know if it'll work. They're not coming back in. Usually I'm the one that disappears. So while we're waiting for them, I'll let you know, because I'm watching YouTube right now. You want to show people camera 2?
Okay.
They're still not in yet.
I can see it. That's a good shot of you.
Ooh, no headroom.
You can hear us, can't you?
Yeah, we can hear you, but you're not on like the actual internet. Wrong way. That's down. You want to go up. The faster you can.
Sorry.
Then change the camera. Do something.
Welcome to the Unabomber podcast.
Hey, did you want to see my pants? Okay, you guys are not on YouTube. Try it again. Oh,
Would you give me a second?
so I still no headroom.
Or let's show us his shoes.
There's still no headroom.
Yes.
Don't zoom out. Go up, not down. The up button. Oh
This
my
is
god!
great. This is great content, right?
Yeah, this is
Great.
You know the arrow that's facing up? That's the arrow you should be
Go
pushing.
back to one.
Not the down arrow. Okay, you guys are still not on YouTube.
It's time to be done.
Look at that.
Cash
Look at that.
it in.
The crotch shot.
They can hear you, though, they're saying.
Oh, I know you can hear me. I can see them and hear them. What? Look at that shot. It's horrible. There's our floor. The lag is caught up. Someone's saying, "Love you, Christina.
That's Kaylin.
I can hear you."
Thank you, Kaylin.
Oh my gosh. I know you can hear me, and I know you saw all that. And Lenny and Kris are actually in the program. They're just not viewing. Hey, maybe you guys need to come out and come back in. Well, it's 9:00.
Yeah.
All right, get ready, Christina. We're going to end this
Get up. Let's hang it up.
fiasco. I'm going to say goodbye. You're going to hit the outro
Wait,
video.
wait.
Why are we
Peace
waiting,
out.
Christina?
All right, I'm getting there.
Right there. Okay, hold on. Let me at least say goodbye. Oh my God.
You're listening to Chameleon Church. Biblical Antidotes for the Modern Man. With your host, Allan Aguirre.
The views and opinions expressed during our broadcasts are solely those of the broadcast producers, hosts, and/or guests, etc., and are not necessarily the views or opinions of the Travelog Network, its sponsors, or affiliates.